Here we go with the Mount Ducos S1. All right, so Mount Ducos was kind enough to send this shoe out to me, and I'm going to do line by line detailed review for you guys now. Oh man, this shoe, I wore it everywhere. I wore it to church, I wore it to Target, I did school shopping in it, I did chores in it, I ran in it. It is a very, very versatile shoe that breaks in very nicely. I mean, Mount Ducos, let's see, we've got the S1, the R1, the P1 now, and each shoe has just shown up in as far as durability and workmanship and overall function as a very, very multifunctional shoe. All right, guys, so y'all know how I like to do. My name is Jason. I'm a nurse practitioner in podiatry. I let the podiatry aspect inform my shoe reviews, but this is not a medical channel. It is a fun-filled running channel. All right, so let's jump right into the laces. So we have these laces that are not exactly plush, they're not exactly squishy, and they're not super wide at all. But what they don't do is they don't deform, they don't lose their shape, and they don't get too skinny. And what happens is whenever you have this eyelet chain that, you know, sometimes wants to come together on some shoes, it is not the case here. It stays nice and firm, and the material does not have a chance to bind. In fact, you have this little arch piece here working its way towards the arch area of the medial aspect of the shoe here, working into the top of the midsole inside here. We'll talk about that here in a sec. The eyelet chain, once again, is not too close, and it is got a decent amount of spacing between it. Here you got a little piece for the runner's loop, which I did feel brought the heel in very nicely for the shoe. So the tongue on this S1 is not super wide, but it is gusseted on both sides. Here you can see right inside this material where my finger is, how it just kind of gussets there, and then working towards the outside or the lateral side, the gusset on this side. Can you see it with my finger right there? All right, and then like I said before, you've got this medial arch piece here that kind of flares out into a triangle like so. And you definitely feel it whenever you're lacing up the shoe and you're really kind of cinching things down, that this arch piece here works this way. It's on the other side of the gusset. You know, it's probably hard to see here, but you have the gusset material towards your foot, and then you have that arch piece that's more towards the outside of the upper, almost like a dual layer here, where the inside layer is that gusset, and then the outside layer is that arch piece, you know, followed by the white piece that I'm touching with my hand here. And speaking of that, there is just all kinds of ventilation going on. And then whenever I had the shoe on, I even saw even more pronounced ventilation here on the front, on the top. Okay, getting my hand into the toe box, a lot of structure to this toe box, to this toe cap. It feels very nice in terms of the width of the toe box, and especially about kind of that first MTP and that fifth MTP. So I got this dry erase board to do just some couple doodles to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. So we got the shoe here, and we got MTP number 1, MTP number 5 here. So you got the bones of the foot, and then you got 1 toe, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you got the rest of the foot here. Extremely crude drawing, I know, but I hope this illustrates what I'm talking about right here. So this line is representative of the width of the toe box, and that's what we're talking about right here and here. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about as far as the width of the toe box and just where these pressure points could occur for some people. And speaking of the pressure points, I'm getting my fingers in here, I'm feeling around and seeing if there's anything that kind of jumps out at me as far as like little sidewalls or anything like that, and I'm not feeling anything. I did feel like there was a little bit of lateral and medial left to right shifting of my midfoot kind of around the midfoot area, but the plushness of the tongue on the top here really worked its way down towards my midfoot, and it really brought it up from the arch. My terrible drawing of my foot, and here's my arch, and here's the top, and this is the midfoot here. The shoe worked its way well to bring up the arch, and then the tongue did a really good job in securing that midfoot, but there was a little bit of side-to-side motion going on that I noticed in the S1. All right, so moving into the heel collar. So the heel collar is just kind of this third of the shoe working its way back. All right, and then feeling kind of that, again, medial towards the midline and then the lateral towards the outside, part of the heel collar. And then I'm looking at the padding, I'm looking at where it touches above the ankle bone. And right here I have the ankle bone here, and then the top of the outside of the shoe right here. So the ankle bone is above the heel collar towards the outside. Ankle bone here, heel collar here. So that's important just as far as where the material touches. So here is super duper comfortable just below that heel bone on both sides. Okay, and then working my way back towards the heel pillow here where the calcaneus likes to sit. And the calcaneus is this really big heel bone back here. And this is where this little heel pocket likes to work. And there's a nice big fluffy pillow that works this way above the heel bone. And it's very pronounced in the S1, and my heel did not slip a single bit. When you don't have a ton of that heel padding, sometimes that heel bone can slip up and down, kind of pistoning within the shoe, and that is not a great recipe. It's gonna create heat and friction and eventually blistering and cracking of skin, and that's not what we want. And that is not the case in the S1 that I found. So I will mention that there is a little bit of a heel clip. You can see this plastic here. And if you look closely, it's got mount to coast written on it, which I think is a cool detail. But what I see is, especially when using this shoe as a heel striking shoe, that it really does a good job of capturing the heel, capturing the motion and reducing the vibration of the user, especially during heel strike. I use this for midfoot strike, I use this for heel strike, and I gotta say, it actually did really well with the heel strike. I'm actually quite impressed. All right, pulling out the insert. So the insert, to me, this is a sock line, a couple different names. It's a sock liner, it's an insert, it's a liner, it's whatever you want to call it. But for me, I like to call it an insert because I use this term interchangeably with the factory insert that comes with the shoe, a over-the-counter aftermarket insert such as Superfeet or Curex or Atrex, those guys, and then you can work your way down to a custom insert, which we're not going to cover in this review. Okay, and then looking inside, so here we have a nice insert that is just got some decent foam to it. It does not have any structure whatsoever, and it doesn't exactly have a pronounced heel cup or anything like that, or arch. It's just a nice insert that does have some tackiness. I think about how this is going to slide over the top of the midsole material within the shoe. So if this is sliding around and buckling or any of that stuff, that eventually is going to be a bad way for the shoe. And I did not experience any of that as well. Also, I think about, like, what is this material like here? Is it slippery? Is it sticky? Like, what's going on with this material here on top that the insert wants to be on top of? Also, is it going to be a good combination with this material here? And I feel like it's a very complementary substance for the two items here, that there's not a ton of slipping around going on at all with the footbed or the insert here. So great job, Mount to Coast, and keeping that symmetry going for sure. Moving into the midsole. So this is the light cell midsole, and like the R1 and like the P1, the balance in the energy return simply just was not there during the beginning stages, the first couple of runs with the shoe. But after a couple of runs and after a couple of miles, I really felt like it opened up and really became alive as far as its personality and what I think Mount to Coast is trying to do. And so with that, it definitely feels a lot bouncier, and it feels a lot more supportive than a lot of the really lighter weight shoes. It's a little bit lower to the ground. And so there's some cool things going on. So there's some cool things going on within the shoe. So first we'll talk about this zero sag. So the zero sag is a material that starts this way from the first toe all the way back towards the midfoot, just behind the fifth toe. Remember, this is the fifth toe here, and here's the first toe right here. So you can kind of picture what's going on as far as the foot model that I crudely drew on this dry erase board. Basically, the zero sag is a material that's designed to provide a little bit more structure and just a little bit more resiliency as far as how the weight is accepted within the midsole, and it doesn't deform and it doesn't conform like the rest of the foam does. It just creates this, I imagine like a hammock, and that's what I felt. I remember those cartoons where there was those old school firefighters running around with the little trampoline, and you got the person way up in the 75th floor and they jump down onto this thing. That's what it felt like. It was like a really bouncy old school firefighter trampoline effect going on. And where I felt it was right here in my midfoot, kind of in this area here. It's crazy. And so when I'm coming down, and as I'm coming down, I'm landing, you know, right here on the midfoot, and then I'm eventually toeing off from the front of the shoe. So I'm coming down, and I'm you know, having that zero sag right here, you know, a little bit firmer on the outside and a little less firmer on the inside. And so there's a tendency for it to, you know, not give here and then maybe roll towards, but by the time that you're rolling towards the inside, you're already toeing off, and that's where the inside piece right here, as you toe off, is designed to collect that energy and keep that foot a little bit more stable within the shoe, and it's not buckling, and your foot's not fatiguing, and it's not bending that that transverse arch. All right, you guys got me talking about arches now. So there's 3 arches in the foot. So arch 1 is on the inside here, arch 2 is on the outside here, and then arch 3 is a transverse. I'm not sure if you can see that transverse. So you got 1, 2, 3 arches right here. And so this 3rd arch is what I'm talking about. It could be argued that arches 1 and 2 are also maintained because of this zero sag, and that you're not having that that deforming of your arch. You're not having that constant, you know, opening of the, you know, 3D structure that is our foot. It's able to kind of stay conformed and not worry about deflating. And I think that's what's happening with the zero sag, and it's really, really nice. And they talk about go flow, and that's what it is. That's where that zero sag, it's a different compound, is sitting within this light cell and how it responds to the heel to toe transition of the shoe. So I think that Mount Coast is really onto something whenever it comes to that stuff. They put the zero sag in this shoe and the R1, but they put a 3D arch rail in the P1, which is a little bit more of a stability shoe, but I digress. I think it's just a really cool thing that Mount Coast is doing. So speaking of lower to the ground, it's 36 in the back and then 26 in the front for a 10mm drop, which is actually, it's on paper quite steep, but with this zero sag, it didn't feel like 10mm at all. So men's size 9, it's 9.35 ounces. My scale is upstairs being cleaned, so it probably could be a little bit heavier for men's size 11, and I'll throw that on the screen in grams as well for you guys. That said, it is a little bit of a heavier shoe. But this is designed to be a really high-speed ultra marathon shoe. In fact, the S1 has won a couple of awards, one with the R1 and one with the S1. This is, you know, for runners who transcend distance. We got 12 days, 620 miles, and 1 pair of S1s. Oh my gosh, in the spring of 2024, Lukang Jing ran from the northernmost part of Scotland all the way down to the southern point of England in 1 pair of S1s. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he broke a bunch of records along the way. So there it is. You get a cool poster to go along with it. You can put it up in your bedroom right next to, I'm gonna put it up in my bedroom right next to my Bon Jovi poster. So, yeah, so the S1, it's just a really, really nice shoe, and it looks good, it feels good, it actually dresses up, and it dresses up. Like I said, I took it to church, I wore it, and it matched like the outfit that I was wearing. I took it to the Target, and I felt like I was just, you know, running my dad chores in the S1s, and it really complemented, you know, what I was doing, what activities I was going, and it just felt like a really nice, comfortable shoe. You know, it's got all this cool running stuff going on, but it also, you know, it can be a lifestyle piece as well. All right, taking a look at the outsole, there you go, boom. Check it out, y'all. We got some really nice grippy rubber here at the top, you know, along the sides here, and there's some exposed midsole going on here as well, with a tiny, ever so shallow decouple groove right here, and like a pretty much very, very subtle heel bevel. Oh my gosh, it's so small. But man, I'm telling you, just the way that it feels with this heel clip, it does really good as far as a heel striking shoe for sure. So what is the shoe for? I think that the S1 is going to go with the R1, and the two are going to be training buddies for sure. So I feel it right now. This is a lot lighter weight in my hand for sure, this R1 versus this S1. And wow, I mean, basically they got kind of the same thing going on as far as the zero sag and all that stuff. This is the racing buddy and this is the training buddy right here for sure. I feel like this shoe is going to go several hundred miles. I mean, as far as like its durability and how it feels, that's just what I'm thinking, y'all, for sure. I'm going to keep wearing this thing. I mean, I know that it's white, but you know, I wanted to talk about how there's like a lack of colors and everything, but you know, I wonder if this is not like just intentional as far as how they're just keeping things so minimalistic as far as the colors go and as far as the, you know, style goes. It's just very, very matter of fact and very point taken as far as like that's what it is. It's Mount DeCoste, and we're not gonna do a whole lot as far as variety of colors and a whole lot of variety of styles of different shoes. It's just gonna be, we're gonna make some really solid shoes and we're gonna put it out there, and that's what it's gonna be, at least for the first year. It reminds me of like, and I'm probably not gonna ever do this, but if I were to ever have a food truck or a restaurant, I would not have an extensive menu. Oh, no. I would probably have like 3 things, if that. Like, because what I would wanna do is have those very few things and just get super duper good at it. And that's it. And that's what I would be known for. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know? I hate to throw Cheesecake Factory under the bus. We love Cheesecake Factory, but their menu is just so ridiculously long. I get it. You're trying to appeal to everybody, but you got like lettuce wraps over here, and then you got like a other rice thing, and you got like a grilled cheese down here. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just too much. It's like, give me 3 things to choose from and we'll be good. All right. So that's my soapbox. So how much is the shoe? So the S1 is 150 bucks. So we've had shoes on here that are $165. We've had shoes on here that are $200. And, you know, those shoes, you know, fit their own category and everything. But I definitely felt like those might've been a little too expensive. And if you follow my channel, you know what I'm talking about. But I do feel like 150 bucks is a decent price, and it's reasonable for the quality of shoe that I think Mount DeCoste has built here. I feel like, again, that this is going to go a long ways. I felt very comfortable in the shoe. I love that it's not like, you know, super duper thick and super bouncy or super accommodating. It's just a solid shoe that I feel like I can get a lot of use out of. So yeah, I feel good about, you know, the price being $150 for sure. All right, everybody, that is it for the full review of the Mount DeCoste S1. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please click like and follow for more. All right, subscribe. Again, my name is Jason. I'm a nurse practitioner in podiatry, and I love talking about shoes. And this is just, it's a passion of mine. It really is. But I also enjoy family and coffee and running shoes. Okay, the link for this shoe will be down in the description. Go ahead and check that out. I appreciate everybody. Yeah, one more thing. If you like saving money, go ahead and use RunDad8 and checkout to save 8% from Mount DeCoste. A little discount code for those shoes. So thanks for checking that out. Oh, also, discount code for fire department coffee right there on your screen. You can check that out as well and save 10%. Save money. This time, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful night. Come on. S1, baby. S uno. Está bien.